Good afternoon. How you doing? I just landed from Ohio this morning with 2.5 hours of sleep, so we're going to have a fun time, correct? We have a little box here with some Q&A. We have some prizes. We're going to go into this and have a great time today. I want to give a big shout out to Alex, first of all, the conference director. Last November, I heard about London Blockchain, and I said, you know what? They're asking for speakers. I said a little prayer and said, okay, God, I'm going to apply, and if they pick me, I'm going to fly over the ocean, and here we are. So thanks so much for showing up. Let's jump right in. First of all, you'll see this slide is very intentional. In fact, I'm demonstrating the technology to you even with this slide. You see, I work with fascinating people. We publish their books, but only recently I started to realize that, you know what, we can protect their books as well through the blockchain. And so I actually encourage all my speakers to present a slide like this. It's kind of funny, but it says, look, you can take pictures of the entire slide deck, no worries. You probably would do it without my permission, but everything is protected by blockchain technology. And that QR code goes right to my IP portal, and I'm going to show you today how each one of you can create an IP portal for free. Does that sound good? How many of you got a postcard when you came in? If you did not get one, raise your hand because we're going to demo something. If you need one, my wonderful president, Sarah, is going to give you one. All right, let's jump right into it. So, how many of you feel like you are a novice when it comes to blockchain? Anybody? What if I raised my hand? What if I said, you know what, being around some of you at the keynotes and at the mixers out there, I feel like you guys and you ladies are super intelligent. I'm what you call a practitioner. So I wrote this book for my 74-year-old parents who kept saying, what in the world are you talking about? What is blockchain? And so I wrote a book called Blockchain Life a few years ago, and in it, I basically described Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3. How many of you feel like Web 3 is thrown around as a word, but most people don't even know how to define it? Is this true? I think a lot of people throw it around and they say Web 3, and everyone else is like, what are you even talking about? I created this chart, but what I want you to pay attention to is really just the top row. In Web 1, how many of you were, by the way, were born in the 70s or before? Raise your hand. Yes. How many of you are younger than that? Raise your hand. All right, we're jealous. I'm jealous of your hair. I'm jealous of your hair. They just said, come back to the hair and makeup, Carrie. And then they looked at me and said, nah, you're good. It's true, it's true. All right, no, they did a wonderful job. Big shout out to Grace for helping out. But look at Web 1, they create, they own. This is Web 1, they create, they own. In other words, Domino's Pizza back in the United States, they created a website and they owned it all. And it was pointless to go to the internet back then because it was just an online menu. You guys have Domino's Pizza in the UK? Yes, all right, fantastic. That's pretty much all Web 1 was. It was them putting their menu online. Well, along came Web 2, and Web 2 was we create. In other words, us in the room, we created content, but they owned it. We posted our pictures with our Toyota or Tesla or whatever was around, and yet they owned it because that's the way that the protocol worked. But in Web 3, everyone is super excited because now we create and we own. So I created this chart, but the main thing I want to focus on today is intellectual property. Because I believe that what I'm about to show you is so simple, but it's like the Uber of intellectual property protection. All I did was mix this piece of technology with this piece, and then I put it together as a US patent, and now we could help people protect their ideas immediately. By the way, I have some prizes in the room. Does anyone know the definition of abracadabra? Does anyone know what abracadabra means? You can Google it if you want. Nobody gets it, don't worry. I'll tell you the meaning, but we'll give away a different prize later. Abracadabra literally means I create as I speak. Is that cool? It came to pass as it was spoken. Now, I love that term because that's how I wish the world was. How many of you had ideas already this morning and you're like, man, that'd be amazing if I could dream that and do it? Well, I think in some levels you can. I think the moment you create something mentally, it actually exists in a certain sphere. Not to be woo-woo or anything, but quantum teaches us that things can coexist but be separate places across the atmosphere, across the world. Well, guess what? I believe that you have an idea and you can protect it immediately and then worry about the actual implementation. And that's what EasyIP is. By the way, I'd love to give you a free copy of the book. How many of you would like that chart and much more? Just scan that QR code, and literally all it says is tell us where to send it. You're not going to be on an email list forever. If you are, you can just hit unsubscribe, but literally you can get my ebook free. I'd love to give it to you. In fact, I'm going to give away everyone else a gift as well. Awesome. Well, why am I passionate about this? Is it because I'm trying to sell you a product? No. I'm passionate about this because one of my books I wrote many, many years ago in 2010 when I had a little bit of hair, and I wrote this book, and this was my fourth book. I've got about 13 out now, but what makes me even more proud is publishing other people's books. So our company, Igniting Souls, has published 1,100 authors. If you have a book in you, come talk to us after. But here's the problem. In 2010, I woke up and I got a Google alert, and it said, your secret name. And I went to the person's website, and it was a minister who had stolen my IP. Is that crazy? Some guy didn't even know. I guess he was a pastor. He took my idea and said that he wrote it as his own. Now, how many of you have ever had your IP stolen? Anybody? Did it feel good? No, it doesn't feel good. In fact, it's kind of like your baby being stolen, and it's not cool. And so I know from personal experience what it feels like when somebody steals your IP. Well, we created a technology that now protects IP. And I'm going to demo it for you all here in a moment, and we can do some Q&A as well. But here's why I exist as a business, why Sarah and I have a company. We are the transformational publisher who helps growth-minded, abundant entrepreneurs publish, protect, and promote their IP and turn it into 18 streams of income. That's our massive transformative purpose, in the words of Peter Diamandis, and we love to do that. How do we do that? We do that by publishing, protecting, and promoting, and here's really the secret sauce. We publish through an imprint, we protect through EasyIP, and we promote through the 18 streams of income. This is why we exist on the planet. And I would tell you that really no other publisher out there right now is protecting IP in this way. So, why is IP so important? Check this out, folks. I was born in 76, okay? So I was born in 76. In 75, the S&P 500, you all have something like that in the UK, right? The S&P 500, something similar. But in America, this is our most valuable businesses and companies. And sure enough, in 1975, the tangible assets actually that actually is reversed. The intangible was only 17%. But in 2020, in fact, check this chart out here, folks. In 2020, 90% of the S&P 500 is ideas, is intellectual property. Is that mind-blowing to you? That means that my Apple iPhone, 90% of the value is not in the parts and pieces. 90% of the value is in the IP. I would argue that your company that you have today, because of the internet, is actually an IP company. How many of you would agree with me? You would say, you know what? The way we do things, the special, unique processes, the unique systems that we have, you would acknowledge that 90% of your company is IP, the value. Would anyone say that? Look at this. It's true. In fact, You can Google this, 2024, it's more like 96%. This is why I'm passionate about this topic. Because you might think all your value is in other things. It's actually your IP. And if you sell your company, how foolish would that be to sell your company at this price point and realize in the attic you have several Picassos and Monets. It's called intellectual property. And if you sell your company for this level and then afterwards discover you had Picasso and Monet, metaphorically speaking, they're not going to give you more money for your company. In other words, folks, write this down if you're taking notes. Unless you take your IP seriously, nobody else will. Unless you take your intellectual property seriously, nobody else will. So let me tell with a quick story here. This is a true story. It's a study that was done in a busy city, and here's what they did. I believe IP is like a fence, by the way. If you really want a metaphor, I believe IP is like a fence. But here's the story. They took 2 first grade classes, right? And they went to playgrounds in a busy, busy city. There were drug deals going on, there was traffic, and they put the first class in the city with no fence around it. Guess what they all did? They all huddled around the teacher because they were scared. They were in a busy city, they heard horns, they saw drug deals going on, they put those kids in the playground and they all huddled around the teacher. Guess what? They put the kids in another playground with a fence, and guess what happened? The kids went to the very edges and played on all the playground. In other words, when you have a fence, your creativity and your innovation flourishes. I know this to be true. When I meet creators and entrepreneurs who don't have any fence around their IP, they're very scarcity minded. They don't want to talk about their idea. They don't want to talk about their business because they're scared other people will steal it. But if you have a layer around that, then people are very creative and innovative. Well, guess what? In the US, patents are like the nuclear weapon of IP protection. In the US, the average patent takes $20,000 US and takes 1 to 3 years. How many of you have a patent in the room? Anybody? A couple of you? Is that true in the UK? I mean, is that a good analogy? I'm seeing some head shaking with the people of hair, which is making me jealous. I'm just kidding. All right, but you get the point, right? Patents are friction-filled, and they take a lot of time and money. What if I told you, guess what? With Easy IP, 24 hours, $97. In fact, get out your smartphone. We're going to give you one free right now on the spot, and I want you to test it. So you can scan that QR code. Let's scan the QR code, everybody. We're going to demo this in real time. The website on your phone, don't go to the App Store. We didn't put it on the App Store because we don't want Apple having control. So this is a web app. It's called easyip.app. I'm going to demo it right here. In fact, let's bring somebody up on stage. Who's got an idea? Anybody have an idea? This is worth a gift. Come on. Who's going to volunteer? Who's got an idea? They had an idea the last 4 hours. Anybody? Yes, come on up, sir. Let's give him a hand. Let's give him a hand. Come on. All right, come on up. Come on up. Main stage, here we go. You're going to be able to hold this and talk right into it, okay? So first of all, here's your gift. It's a journal. It's a pen. We got the whole thing for you, okay? But let's talk to you. What was your idea that you had in the last little bit?
Not 4 hours, but I was working on some idea.
You were working on an idea?
Idea, yeah.
Okay, so you have an idea. Is it a picture? Is it text? Or is it a file?
So it is about to build a C-suite ecosystem.
Ecosystem?
Where the entrepreneurs, researchers, the industry, venture capitalists, as well as the the angel investors, they will be collaborating.
Okay.
And so that they can.
It's an ecosystem.
It's an ecosystem where that have multiple pillars,
Okay.
So that one of the pillar is on the executive assets and IP management,
I love it.
which I've done one of the capstone project as well.
We'll show them how to protect it. Here's what you want to write down if you're taking notes. You gotta name the baby. You gotta name your IP. If you do not name your IP, you're in trouble. You gotta name your IP. You don't have a baby and just call the baby baby forever. You name the baby. You have to describe the baby, okay? So do you have a name?
For the executive assets and IP management, I mentioned it as Block Crest Nexus.
I love it.
That is the name of that one. But regarding the ecosystem, I haven't come up with that.
That's
word.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so remember that name. Let's give him a hand. All right, you can have a seat. Let's give him a hand. All right. So here's what you do. You literally just open up easyip.app or scan the QR code, get it on your phone. I'm literally going to give you one right now. So can you guys all do this for me? You men and ladies, fantastic. And then we'll go into some Q&A. So you hit protect my idea. It's going to literally say to you, photo, text, or file. So you could be at a business meeting drawing on a napkin and having a great business collaboration meeting at dinner and say, oh my gosh, that's a business. We need to protect that thing. Well, if you need to protect that through a patent, you might as well fork over 20K and you might as well wait 1 to 3 years. Or you can open your phone and you can literally take a photo of your napkin and then here's what you do. This is an example of text. All right, so again, picture or text or file. I call this one the London blockchain test. You got to name your baby and you got to describe your baby. You also have the ability to click hidden or click visible. If you click hidden, then that exists as a trade secret. If you hit visible, the whole world can see, but don't worry, I'll show you why. And then again, you can click add another idea. We've preloaded your account. Once you sign up with your name and password, we've preloaded one right for you. So if anyone in this room has an idea and they go through the steps I just said, my team is already protecting your idea in the blockchain. And then what is the power of that? Well, let's go to my laptop and I'll demo this really quick. And then we'll open it up to Q&A. So we're on my computer. This is just our registry. Let's take a person like B for Boomer. Here's one of our clients, Boomer Consulting. Here in the US, check out all the IP they've protected. Let's just go into their file once. And now we are on the Boomer Intellectual Capital IP portal. We go down, we can view the IP at different images, but let's click into one of these here. Let's click into the 90-day game plan. I will tell you that the Boomer CPA firm was nervous to talk about this because it was not trademarked, it wasn't copywritten, it wasn't a patent, but once we protected it, then they promoted it. Write this down if you're taking notes. Once you protect your IP, you can promote your IP. Once you protect your IP, then you can promote your IP. No protection, you should not be promoting, because we've all heard the stories. And once you organize your IP, then you can optimize your IP. How many of you, if you're honest, you're like, you know what, my IP is all over the place in our company? Come on now. How many of you, come on, you're like, you know what, Jimmy owns some IP, I don't know, it's on Susie's computer, who knows, it's in a PDF, maybe it's in a customer brochure, who knows. Listen, Boomer knows exactly where all their IP is. Here's the beauty of this. We create a token for them, right? Let's click into one of these things. We go down to details. Here we are. We see that there's the contract address, and it's token 131. We click it, and then you folks know we got the Boomer Tracker token right here. So now they have a token. So now all their IP is named after their token. When they go to sell their company, all their IP is under that token. They took their ideas and turned them into a digital asset. And once you have a digital asset, it raises the value of your company. So we go down to this particular one. They have 132, and we're not going to go down to that exact number. Well, let's go. Right here, you know what blockchain does. March 26th, 7:42, 9 seconds, that was protected. It creates an immutable timestamp, which is now a filing event. You might say, Kerry, what does the USPTO think about this? Right? Are they gonna recognize this smart contract? Well, guess what? They invited me to come speak. And here, if you are curious, you can go to easyip.today/about. Here's me speaking to Congress, which is a big deal in our country. And here I am presenting. Harvard's a big deal, and the American Bar Association is a big deal. I'll tell you what, folks, the USPTO realizes that there's too much friction right now. Thanks to AI and thanks to the internet, they cannot keep up. If you want to trademark something in the US, how long do you think it takes you? How long are you going to be waiting around? A trademark, what do you think? Anybody? Take a guess. 18 months? She's like so close. Last time I checked, it was 14 months. 14 months, folks. If you have something and you want to trademark it, 14 months of friction. And yet you can use EasyIP and today have that turned from an idea into a digital asset. Let's do some Q&A. I get to throw this at someone. Yes. All right, so talk clear. I say CCD, clear, concise, direct, so we can make sure we have other Q&A. There it goes. Oh yeah, that was a good catch right there.
Okay.
All right, what's your question?
My question is, we have an idea and we are trying to protect, but if it already exists, it will be a plagiarism, right? We don't know that it is there, but if it already exists.
So you don't know, I get you. So you don't know if your idea exists. There's a couple tools that you can use. At least in the US, we have the patent search, we have the trademark search. What is it called in the UK? What is it called in London? What's your IP society called? Does anyone know?
IPO.
Okay, fantastic. So most of these governmental agencies, they have a search field. But here's the thing. We all know that with IP, as long as you add some unique distinctions, that's a new original idea. So I would argue if you find someone that has the exact same thing, add some new features and new dynamics and then protect it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Yeah, thank
awesome. Folks, by the way, I'm not against patents. We patented EasyIP. So get this. I created a patent so you don't need a patent. And they approved it. They rejected us 3 times, but we finally got through. So we paid a little bit more than $20K. But we have a really good IP lawyer. I'm not against patents, but here's what I know. A patent is like the Great Wall of China, when sometimes all you need is a little fence around your playground. If you have nothing, people are going to go into your yard and steal all your stuff. But sometimes all you need is a fence and it says dog inside. That's what EasyIP is. It's enough to scare people away so that they don't go to war with you and you fight them and say, hey, here's our immutable timestamp. Do you want to go to war? You have to defend any type of IP. I'm just saying that EasyIP is a first layer and a fast layer, and my passion is so that new ideas are created. Question in the back, can you throw that to her? Awesome. Yes.
Is it admissible in court as evidence?
Can you hold that again?
Is it admissible in court as evidence if
I love
it was
it.
ever
I love it.
challenged in the future?
So all you do is, we have a FAQ page, go to the About page, and what we've done at the bottom is we have an FAQ page. We talk all about smart contracts, what is it, are they legally binding in the US, here's some court cases, yes. Are they in other countries, yes. So here's...
Can you go into the geographical aspect as well? If you patent it in America and somebody steals your idea in the UK, how does that transfer globally?
Here's the beauty of blockchain. Distributed ledger, decentralized, every device on the planet, everywhere. So smart contracts are actually immutable and visible to everyone. Now listen, again, I'm not a lawyer, and any type of IP, I'll say it again, has to be defended. But when you have nothing, it's very hard to defend. Or when it's on a napkin in your house, it's very hard to defend. When it's a smart contract that is time-stamped, on Ethereum layer 2, everyone can see it on every device. Suddenly, you now have something to defend. Can you throw that to the next person here? Great question. Yes, and while you're teeing up your question, here's what I believe is about to happen. Here's my little futurist projection. In the year 2000, the Digital Signature Act was invoked. What did that mean? You no longer needed a wet signature to do business with people. Do you realize prior to 2000 you had to sign a paper? Well, then came DocuSign, Sign Now, the Digital Contract Act, and now we can do business with people all around the world. I believe we are on the tipping point where smart contracts are now going to be that new wet signature moment. And you are going to be, it's already happening. You can do real estate through smart contracts. You can do self-executing contracts of so many ways. And so IP is just around the corner. Yes?
So we have a project which is just being, a system which is being built at the moment. It has a name.
Yep.
We have technical papers.
Yes.
We have all sorts of things. But speaking as a founder, if I was to, I just looked at your system and I was to upload our technical white paper,
Sure.
which has the name of the company, it has all our trade secrets, it has everything in. What would actually be protected in that document? Would it be the idea? Would it also be the name of the company?
Sure.
What would be protected in that?
Yeah, great question. So we have on the About page what types of files can be protected. Right now, one smart contract for one page. So here's what a lot of our people are doing. They have their PDF open, and they literally just do a screencast of their entire white paper or their entire slide deck. And then we upload that as an MP4 file, and that whole video is protected. What it's basically doing, folks, I don't know if you were around back then, but does anyone know the old copyright process where they would say, mail a letter to yourself? Did anyone ever hear this before? Yeah. Perfect. I'm glad somebody in the room heard about this. This was the old way of protecting your IP. Put it in an envelope, put a stamp, mail it to yourself, and leave it unopened. Why? So you could prove the timestamp. Think about what blockchain has opened up for us. Blockchain has opened up not some lame letter that we get lost in our front drawer, but now that smart contract is viewable to the world at once, on every device on the planet. You folks have this technology available to you. So, to answer your question, I believe that if you're going to go for a patent, get it on EasyIP, click that button that says hidden, because tell you what, when you fill out a patent form, they're going to say, when was the first time you used it? Now you can show with irrefutable evidence the smart contract, but it's still hidden, so nobody else can take your idea. Make sense?
It makes perfect sense. Thank you very much.
Awesome. If you do make it visible, check it out. It counts as prior art. There's a law that says with patent law that if you have prior art, you are actually the one who came up with the idea. So the lawyers literally search for prior art. Your smart contract counts as prior art. Question?
Hi. I was involved in filing a patent. Basically, I was a solution architect. So
Yes.
I was asked in a large company to file my idea as a patent. So I understand that to file patents, you need prior art, as you said. And however, in your system, does it actually file the patents into the US, the patent system, or just purely on the smart contract? Because there's a main difference. Because the patents in the US, file lawyer, there's a legal power to basically enforce it afterwards. If someone basically patent is about protecting your idea or basically to make money based on IP. Lots of companies using this to make money, right?
So his question is about the enforceability. So here's what I would tell you. Even if you have a patent and somebody infringes upon your patent, you have to go to a legal situation. So every IP has to be defendable. Even though I have a patent on this, someone can copy me and I just don't sit there. I have to actually enforce it. So yes, you do have to enforce. I say, you know what? I have 10 ideas a day. If I spent all those in patents, 10 times 20K, I'd be putting out 200K a day. I don't have that type of money, 200K a day. So instead, I take my ideas, I put them on EasyIP, I create a first layer and a fast layer, and then I decide which ones I might go to trademark, which ones I might go to copyright, which ones I might go to patent. So what it does is it freezes the idea right there, and then you can decide. But here's what else we have. We have people now, like Personal AI, watch this, this is pretty cool. Personal AI is a company. If you go /IP, they have 8 patents. Google will tell you, my buddy Suman has 8 patents. Guess what Suman's doing? Suman is coming to us and saying, you know what? I want to take my patents and I want to retrofit them into EasyIP. So sure enough, he's uploading all of his patents in EasyIP. Why? Because they're all digitized, and now he can put them inside his wallet, and when he sells his company, he just literally transfers over the smart contracts. So we have people now with patents coming to EasyIP saying, look, I want them digitized because it helps our company keep them organized as well. I know we're out of time, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay right here until this nice young lady, let's give her a hand, by the way. Let's give her a hand. Yes. No, I was hearing her. She's a great MC. I'm going to stay right here with Sarah. We do have a booth as well. It's closest to the hallway, but we'll answer any questions about your IP publishing, protecting, or promoting. Thanks for coming.
Okay, bye-bye.